up, what up, what up? What up, world? It's your boy, back at it again. Here to stand on the business. On this Cinco de Mayo. Shout out to all the brown skin folks out there. Had to come back, man. Do another joint for Miss Selena. You know, the first one, the one I did back in February, I pretty much went straight into the thick of everything when I did that video right there. And which was all right, but I just went straight to the business. But I told myself I had wanted to do another one where I kind of get like a little background, on my personal encounter with Selena. Well, not literally, I never met her, but how she came into how I came into the knowledge of her. We can kick it around about a few other things, but I didn't get a chance to really do that on the last one. I just went straight into the numerology and you know, showing the connection between her and Pac and all that. So today, now really, I was supposed to do a video on her birthday, which was the day before Easter, on the 16th of April or whatnot. And I don't know. I just could. I did about. I think I did like 2 videos, but I didn't really like them. You know, I'm probably my own worst critic or whatever, or my own best critic, however you want to look at it. But I did like 2 of them, and I wasn't really feeling them. I said, man, you know what? Maybe I should wait. But speaking about birthday, interesting thing to note, her birthday falls on April 16th. Now, them 16s, is something about them 16s. Cause check this out. You have a Leo birthday who falls on January 16th. And then 3 months later, January, February, March, 3 months later, you have Selena's birthday, which falls on the 16th. And then 2 months after that, you have Pac's birthday in June, which falls on the 16th. I found that interesting. And all that's within a 5-month range. And then you have, you know, of course, I was telling you, you go look at the other video I did about her and Pac or whatever. You'll see the science behind numerology of 5 and her connection with the 5. Then of course her name, the Queen, and her name or whatever. Queen being short for, or Queen being a slang for basically which a slang which references one person who was born of one person out of a group of 5, or one person who was born out of a group of 5 who was all born at the same time or whatever, quintuplets as they call them. She's not a quintuplet, but still in all, it's all relevant or whatever. And matter of fact, let me grab my phone too. Yeah, that's 16 though. So I was trying to get the videos off, man. It was like it was just something off about the time. I wouldn't say I was off, but it was just I just couldn't really get in the groove on that day. Or whatever. I'm not gonna say couldn't get in the groove, but something just told me to hold off on it. And it's funny because when you go back, if you go back and look at the first video I did, and this is interesting right here. And this is probably why, right here, because after I did the videos, and I was like, nah, I'm gonna wait. This happened right here. Now, if you go back to the first video I did, I was telling y'all about when I got a channel from her, and I was sitting there when I got the channel. I was listening to I was thinking about when Bobby Hemmett had said that we had burnt the dinosaurs, that we had burnt the dinosaurs up or whatever, in order for us to come and be able to, I guess, walk around the planet or exist here without the threat of these gargantuan reptiles running rampant. You dig? Y'all excuse me, I'm looking for a few things that I want to show y'all. But yeah, so yeah, I was thinking about that, and then a little bit after I thought about that, I got the channel from her. She was like, go listen to East Side Rendezvous by Kid Frost. So when I did that, which is like I said, it's an old song that I used to like back in the game or whatever. I think it came out like a 9.6, 9.7 or something like that. And funny thing about it too, cause I'll tell the story again. When at that time I didn't have cable. My homeboy had cable. So on the weekends, like on Fridays or whatever, I would go, and sometimes I'll spend the weekend at his house, and that's where I get to catch up on all the videos that I was missing or whatever. And that just so happened to be one of them, East Side Rendezvous. He got the Pac, the same, I don't know if Pac sampled it too, and then he backdoored and sampled from Pac, or they both sampled it from an original song. But he sampled he had the same sound that Pac had on Pour Out a Little Liquor. That but his was like a little slower on East Side Rendezvous. And East Side Rendezvous was relevant to the whole formation of the Earth, Birth of the Sun series I was doing, because the East Side Rendezvous, when the sun finally, when the Earth finally spits the sun out, or the sun and the Earth finally separate after the whole process is finished, and the Earth makes it to its orbit. By the time it's making it to its orbit, its east axis is spinning tilted towards the sun. So it's an East Side Rendezvous or East Side meetup. The sun and the Earth meet. The sun and the Earth or the sun, the rays of the sun meeting with the east axis of the Earth. Once it fixates itself in its orbit or whatever. So that was a connection. And then the whole thing with him sampling the Pac, that was evidence to substantiate that this was actually going on. This was, this is not me just talking, because as you know, the original video, I was showing you how her and Pac was coming through it, at the same time or whatever. Party people. So, but it's funny because the apartment, I was staying in an apartment called Rose Garden, and the apartment that my homeboy was staying in at the time, this was like 9/7. I ended up moving into those apartments. What? I think about. I moved over there like 3 years later. No, I'm lying. Yeah, about 3 years later, 3 or 4 years later. That was like 9/6, 9/7, and I moved over there in 2000, and then I ended up moving in the same apartment that this nigga was in when I was coming to his house to and watching all the videos or whatever. And the funny thing about that shit is we never noticed. No, we never, cause he used to come over there to my house and shit when I moved over there or whatever. But we never ever noticed that shit. I just told him that about two. I just realized the shit like three or 4 months ago. And I went to his house and told him, like, bro, you know, I moved in that same goddamn apartment you stayed in. When I moved to Rose Garden, he was like, yeah. Like, yeah, bro, you don't remember? And he was like, you know what? Whatever. So, but I just found that interesting or whatever. And, so anyway, back to the story. So I'm listening to the East Side Rendezvous, and then Kid Frost got one of his homeboys on the track. I don't know his name, but it's a part on the song where he said, "I'm blah 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 blah. I'm coming down San Bernardino," which is a street I'm assuming or whatever. But he said San Bernardino, Dino being short for dinosaur. Then you got San means sun. Then burn, Dino. I was burn Dino. Burn dinosaur or whatever. And I was just sitting there thinking about what Bobby Hemmett had said in regards to the dinosaurs, about how we burnt them up or whatever. So that was in February, and then I did when I tried to do the videos and for a birthday. I think I did like 2, and I said, you know what? Let me relax. Let me not force nothing. Let me not force it. I said I'll try again on Cinco de Mayo, which is still 16, because you have the 5th month, which is May. Today's the 5th. 5 plus 5, that's 10. 20, 22. 2 plus 0, 2. Plus 2 is 4, plus another 2, that's 6. 10 and 6, 16. And of course, 1 and 6 is 7. That's the G, the God. So this shit is just constantly, it's constantly linking up and and synchronizing. So after I said, you know what, I'm gonna wait, I ain't gonna force this. I'm gonna wait. On her later on that night, on her birthday, or going into the next morning, on Easter or whatever, I picked up this book right here, Astrodynamics, by Robert Bruce. It's basically a book about astro traveling. And I turned to a random page. And when I say I picked it up, I've been having it, but I just randomly decided to. I read a little bit of it thus far, but I haven't read it all the way through. But I picked it up, and I just turned to a random page, and the random page just happened to be 265. Now, dig this. Now, in this book here, the author, he tells different experiences of his astro traveling or whatever. So now dig what happened when I turned to page 265. And to be honest, I even go as to say I don't think I turned exactly to 265. I turned to a random page, but I ended up reading 265 that night, and this is what came up. Dig this. I project out of body and appear before a neat little cottage on a tiny street in a seaside town. It is bright daylight. It is bright daylight filling around noon here. The door is open and I move inside. There, my mother is waiting for me. We hug and say our hellos and move into the living room. A lovely room with nice furniture, cream carpets, and tastefully decorated. My mother's friend, Selena, joins us, followed by my old Labrador, Blue Boy. I sit on the floor and play with Blue Boy. He's young and playful, so different from the old dog he was at the end of his life. We sit and talk and what seemed like hours go by. My mother, Selena, and I used to meet one evening a week for meditation and spiritual sharing and talking for many years. They passed on years ago, so it was lovely to catch up and enjoy each other's company again. The cottage was Selena's home in the astral. It was such like her home in real life. There's a knock at the door as visitors arrive, and my old friend Bob comes in. Yeah. I had lost touch with old Bob years ago. He was in his 80s then, but I did not know he had passed over. It was lovely seeing him again. He invited me to take a walk with him, and we set off to explore. He took me down to the shore as we chatted and caught up on life and afterlife. Bob was ebullient and fascinated by this place. He had a cottage on the other side of town, he told me. Bob said he was amazed by this place, especially the fishing. He said he often fished on the shore and caught many fish, but some of them were freshwater fish. He told me with amazement. Bob said he also often walked the hills behind town and fished the lakes and streams here. He said he caught many good fish there, but not just freshwater fish, but ocean fish as well. He said in wonderment. My body called me back. That's after the story. Then he said, my body called me back at this point. I finally recorded everything in my journal. It warmed my heart to see them all again. My mother, Selena, and Bob did not seem to be aware that they were in spirit. We all just enjoyed the moment. A lot of visiting seems to go on between spirits. I imagine that in this state, if you think of someone, you would shift and appear at that person's location and visit. Astral projection is much like this. So that was his encounter with his mother and friends and whatnot, who just so happened to be named Selena and Bob. Now, am I saying that that's the Selena and Bobby Hennett? It's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is, you just gotta peep the synchronicity or whatever. And that's why I tell niggas, read. Don't listen to these dudes. See, that's how the spirits communicate with you, is checking the time. It's like I tell people, you hear some people say, oh, you don't have to read no more, and you don't have to read all the books. Nah, reading, it's not just about, you read for the information that you're reading in front of you, but it's not just about the actual information that you absorb from the book. Sometimes you get channels through the way certain things come up in the books or whatever. Same way if you go back and watch the original video I did on Selena, you will see that, because I'll show you another instance where synchronicity through reading the book, through reading or whatever, bear witness to the things that I was teaching or whatever. So I thought that was interesting to note right there. Now, show you what I seen on Instagram. And remember, I told you one of the main things she was trying to tell me, or she can't. One of the main things she wanted me to express was the fact that she's Hispanic, but she wanted it to be known that she was black. You know what I'm saying? She's not saying that she's downplaying her Hispanic heritage, because it's all black really, but she wanted it to be known that Hispanics are to be considered black for the most part. Now you do have your for lack of a better way of putting it, Caucasian Hispanics or whatever, but a vast majority of your Hispanics are actually they have functioning pineal glands. Because when I was communicating with her, or in February or whatever, that's what that's what kept coming up, the pineal gland. So now remember, I just told you about the whole dinosaur thing and the Saint Bernardino thing, right? Now check this out. See this on Instagram about a day or two ago. You see that? All right, Los Dinos. So oh yeah, show you another picture of her. She's looking real Anita Baker-ish in this one. Oh shit. Giving you the best that I got. We did, you know what I'm saying? That's nigga. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So now let me get back to what I was trying to originally, well, I'm gonna say originally because this is all inclusive, but now when I first came to the knowledge of Selena, same thing. When I first came into the knowledge of Selena, I didn't know who she was, which is important to note because she was a big thing, and this goes to show you how, although we all live, although we're so close, speaking about just racist period or whatever, within America, we all so close yet so far away at times, because I didn't know nothing about Selena. Now I came to the knowledge of her when I came to school. I think it was a Monday, 'cause I think she died on the weekend, and if I'm not mistaken, I got to school that Monday, and you know all the Hispanic girls was crying, and so you know we like, what the fuck is, you know, niggas, we're not really familiar with Selena, so we like, what the fuck is going on around here? And I was like, oh, Selena died, Selena, and then when I got home, you know, I started watching the news and getting filled in on the case and, you know, everything that happened. And I'm like, well, okay, she was a big thing. And then I started hearing the music because when she passed on, 97.9, our urban radio station in Houston, they started playing her music. Dreaming and I Could Fall in Love was like the two main songs they pumped the most. And when you hear that, it was the first time I ever heard them. Undeniable talent. You know, I heard them like, oh, okay, well shit, I see why, you know, they feel the way they feel. Now we hadn't really, as far as my generation, we hadn't really lost anybody yet. For my generation, you know, my parents and them or whatever, you know, they had Marvin Gaye and people like Marvin Gaye who had passed or whatever, and quite others I can't think of right now. But as far as like the people who were big deals, who became big deals when I was growing up, we hadn't lost anybody yet. The closest I could say would be, as far as the music, Scott LaRock or something like that. But even that wasn't really as impactful around. You know, I know in New York they probably felt it, but it wasn't just impactful as somebody like a Pac or Selena, I mean, or Selena or Aaliyah or something. So so they really had their the Hispanics really had their the same type of moment we had when Aaliyah passed. They already had they moment with Selena. So with I heard the music, I was like, okay, well she's bad. Yeah, you know, she's a talent, you know. I understand. I can you know, and even though I wasn't tapped into the music, like I wasn't tapped into it and I didn't know her, that's the power of music. Once I heard the music, you can tell it was something special about her. And it's not like, I'm not saying it as if I was like, oh. Well, when I heard the music, I was like, okay, this is special music. Because you know good music when you hear good music. But, when somebody has that type of impact after dying, I assume, I'm supposing that, I think it was the way that I saw those Hispanic girls at school crying. I think that subconsciously indicated, in my mind, the power and the greatness that she was of or whatnot. So you know, time passed or whatever. They was talking about the case or whatever, and boy, they was mad the motherfucker. Like the Hispanic world was mad as fuck. Well, I'm talking about when that lady who killed her finally went to court. When that lady finally went to court, man, them folks was all outside the courthouse, and they was like standing on that business, like, hey, if y'all don't do something, we gonna do something. And I'm talking about they was serious about that shit. And I would say rightfully so, because, you know, when I went back and looked at, I went and looked at, I think an A&E special they had did on her or whatever, and I'm just checking out her, gauging her aura. She didn't come off as somebody who deserved to go like that or whatever. I mean, we all can't do what we can't do when things happen, I guess, the way it's supposed to happen or whatever. But she exuded a real positive aura. You know, I like to, you know, I'm not always right, but I like to say that I am a, you know, I have a good judge of, I feel like can't necessarily judge a book by its cover, as they say, but I feel like I'm good at reading people a lot of the time. Sometimes I can be wrong, but you know, even when it comes to like girls or whatever, I can kind of gauge which type. Okay, that's a good girl right there. She'd make a good girlfriend. She'd make a good wife. Or she's good people. Or she's good people. Or, you know, I can kind of gauge that. So when I was watching this video, I'm like, man, I could just feel the positive energy that she was giving out or whatnot. And you know, that's one of the first things that came to mind when I was watching the video. I was like, damn, man, she went out. She don't like, she went out like that. And you know, one of the things that I gotta say is she paved a way for Hispanics in entertainment, and she doesn't get the proper respect or recognition that she deserves for the trail she blazed. Now I'm not saying she's the first Hispanic to come along and do anything, because you had people like Celia Cruz, but she is we just say for modern times, at least from the I'll say the late 80s going into the 90s and into the 2000s and on till now. But really, overall, she really paved the way, and she showed that Hispanic talent was marketable, and it could be a big thing. So she paved the way for people like Jennifer Lopez, Enrique Iglesias, what's the other boy name? Hell, Big Pun. She a big Punisher. So that's how you know she paved the she trailblazed, because Punisher was the first Latin person to go platinum. So that's how you know. But and she came before Punisher. But if he was the first to go platinum, then it goes to show you that as far as with the entertainment, Hispanics hadn't gotten a had a real good run yet or whatnot, or a real thorough stomp down. So she paved the way. As a matter of fact, she made the way directly for Jennifer Lopez, because if I'm not mistaken, Jennifer Lopez's first movie was playing Selena, or at least her first starring role. And and I could be wrong. Y'all fact check that, Google or whatever. Matter of fact, I do it right now myself. But and that's another connection I had with her via that movie. Now, for one, of course, Selena's from Texas. She's from right down the road, Lake Jackson, which is not too far from here, not too far from Houston or whatever. And so she's a bona fide Texas girl. And out here, I know we have of course, due to the fact that we right there on the we right here by Mexico, so we have a huge a vast population of Mexicans within Texas and whatever, which is pretty cool. And I say that because I think Texas and California, we probably have the most Mexican, because you got the overall, you got Spanish overall, which everything falls under, which Mexican, Puerto Rican, Colombian, all the Spanish tongue, all the sub races that speak the Spanish tongue or whatnot. When you go over to the East Coast, it's more of a, from my observation, it's more of a Puerto Rican, and we got all that too, but I don't think it's that many Mexicans on the East Coast or whatever. But when you get to the East Coast, the type of Hispanics you run into is like your Puerto Ricans. I know they have a large presence out there. Cubans, that's your Miami thing or whatever. Because I once met a guy from Mississippi, and he told me that he said he had never even saw a Mexican. The first time he ever saw a Mexican was when he came to Texas or whatever. Which I could believe that. But I'm quite sure now, Mexicans are pretty much spread it out everywhere. see. But okay, no, it wasn't the first movie. The first movie was said she had a when she was 16. She made a small she made a film debut with a small role in a movie called My Little Girl. So anyhow, it was one of her first movies or whatever. If not the first, but let me see if it was the second one. Cause okay, Selena was her first leading role though in 1997. So okay, I was half right, first leading role. So yeah, and one of the things that stood out about that movie, it was a good movie. First of all, I liked it and shit, and the one of the things that stuck out about it though is a scene where they was at Splash Town, which is a water park out here in Texas, and they was in San Antonio, shooting on location or whatever. And I got family in San Antonio, so when I saw them at that Splash Town, I said, "Oh, that's a Splash Town we be going to when a nigga in San Antonio or whatever." And so I always had like a little connection with it, right? With it when I used to look at that all the time. It used to always come to my mind when I would see that scene or whatnot. I can't remember exactly what she was doing. I think she was like about to jump off into the water into something. Don't quote me on that. It's been a while since I've seen it. But so that was always I always had like a little. It's always something about that scene in the movie when I would see that part right there, because I was like, oh, I've been there before, And you know what I mean. It's when you see somewhere you've been a few times in a movie, you're like, oh, that's such and such. That's where we was at when blah 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 whatever. So that was always a connection I had with her in regards to that. But it was a pretty good movie. If you've never seen it, check it out. Let me check this time again. Okay. So yeah, that was a pretty good little pretty good movie right there. So yeah, like I was saying though, she paved the way, because what she did was with the when you think about the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s, you had a considerable influx of Mexicans coming in to Texas or whatever, into America period. But Texas is like first place they gonna hit or whatever, and in California and all that. So when you think about entertainment, it was like, well, we're gonna have to, since we have this vast influx of Hispanics coming in, we're gonna have to start taking them into consideration when in regards to entertainment or whatnot. So she was a key factor. She had Grammys and everything. That's why I said we be so close yet so far away, because for her to be big enough to have all those Grammys, I think she had like 2 Grammys or whatnot. But for her to have those Grammys and then die without me even knowing about it, it was like, wow. She was big enough to snag a few Grammys, and I had never heard of her or whatever. So it's like, damn, you be right around away from people, and based off the fact y'all come from 2 different cultures, you'll never know. But I'm quite sure if she would have passed on, she would have became big enough to big enough to a point to where it would have been hard to miss her. But yeah, she had been doing a thing. You know, when I'm looking at the documentary, I mean at the A&E special when they was breaking down her history or whatever. You know, her pops have been working with her since she was a little kid or whatever. Just like most prodigal talents or whatnot. So she had been doing it for a while, and beautiful voice, man. I still have to go back and right now I'm slowly acclimating myself back into becoming a music head. Cause I grew up, I think I listened to music so much growing up. By the time I came home from jail, I think I was becoming a little burnt out on music, or my passion in regards to music wasn't how it used to be or whatever. But it's slowly coming back now. That's why there's a lot of shit, you know, a lot of albums, and you can just, and this shit free now. It's like I was more in the music back at a time where back when the time where shit, you had to go buy the album, bootleg it, or whatever, just to hear the shit. And now you just get on YouTube and pull up damn near any album you want. And I don't even be doing this shit. New artists that I grew up loving and shit drop albums right now, and I'll be like, I'll go listen to it one day. You know what I'm saying? But I think with me it's more so about, I think what it is I'm an artist myself. And I never had the opportunity to really I haven't had the opportunity to put my own music out yet. So now I'm at a point where I'm like, you know, everybody else cool, but fuck that. I'm ready for my shit. I want to put my own music out. I'm tired of listening to everybody else shit. Knowing, especially when it comes to rap, because I'm better than all these niggas. Yes, sir. And once I get to fucking with that production, I think it's gonna be, you niggas gonna have to work again. But it's not about me. Let's not get too much about me. But yeah, man. So I'm gonna have to eventually. I think I'm gonna sit down and I gotta do that with a lot of artists, not just her. A lot of artists, Mike, James Brown. Peace to James Brown, whose birthday was day before yesterday. I didn't really get. I tried to do one on him. Same thing. The energy was just kind of off a little bit, but I get around to it. Speaking on giving a little commentary on what I feel about the late great James Brown. It's only right, but yeah, I gotta really go and sit down with a lot of her music. You know, it's mostly in Spanish, but she got some English stuff too, and I think she got two versions to all the albums or whatever, the English and the Spanish version. Don't give me the line, but she does have English versions, if I'm not mistaken, or whatnot. So, but even if she doesn't, I still listen to the Hispanic version or the Spanish version just for the you know, just to hear the talent. Because one thing about singing, despite the fact you may not know what she's saying, the harmonizing of the vocals is still worth noting. So, but yeah. But one of the key things of this I want to put a spotlight on is the fact that is what I've been telling people for a minute now, that Hispanics, for the most part, all black people, they have functioning pineal glands. As you can see, if you really look at it in that picture, you can tell And then you see her father, he's a real dark brown fella. And that's one of the things that she wanted me to speak on, is to let it be known, like, hey, you know, I'm a nigga. And because what you got to understand about Hispanics is this. Hold on real quick. First and foremost, what makes a Hispanic Spanish is Spain. The origins of Spanish or Spaniards is Spain. And Spain is in Europe. Now, if we taught Europeans how to talk, or we taught the white men and the Caucasians how to talk, then that means that all these languages come from us, just different variations of what we was already doing. So when you look at Spain, you get the Moors who went up into Europe, and they spent quite a considerable amount of time civilizing white folks in Europe. Spain in particular, they had a nice little run in Spain. So when you look at over here in the Americas, you know, you got America, Central America, South America, North America, Americas, whatever. You already had natives over here who were black people, black and copper colored people or whatever. So how the Hispanics came about, I mean, it's for how like people like Cubans, Hondurans, Mexicans, El Salvadorians, the way these type of the lighter skinned versions of them came about via the Spaniards who came from Europe or whatever. When they came over here and started colonizing everything, and the commission of colonizing the natives over here, they was sexually intermingling with all the natives and lightening the skin tone through the co-mingling. And of course, whenever one nation conquers another nation, one of the things that they do is enforce the tongue that they brought to that conquered nation or whatever. So when Spain came over here and started colonizing South America and all that, they forced their tongue on the natives or whatever. All the while, we was already speaking a whole other language over here. So they were lightening the skin tone of black people through the commingling, as well as forcing their tongue or making the Spanish tongue the official tongue of wherever they were at or whatever area they was colonizing. Just like when you look at Haiti, those are black people, but they have a French tongue due to the fact that they were colonized by the French up until two sons of Novich and the boys ran them up out of there, and a vast majority of them ran to Louisiana or whatever. They had a safe haven in Louisiana, and you had a lot of not just the slave masters who ran over there, but a lot of the slaves stayed with their masters and went to New Orleans or Louisiana with the whites that were being ran out of Haiti or whatever. And that's why New Orleans has a Creole influence over it, that French influence or whatever. The fleur, which is the New Orleans Saints symbol, that's French in nature. That's really a B or whatever. Read this book, Secret Teachers of All Ages, you will see it in there. So many words. When you fast forward to today, when you look at Mexicans, and you have different shades of them. You have dark-skinned Mexicans, which are, but you can tell, you know, they may not consider themselves black, but they're so dark, you know they're not white, so you know that if you just look at them, they about as dark as me. You know what I'm saying? They may have straighter hair, but they're dark. And that comes from that comes from you know, that's due to the fact that they were already a copper tone and black people in this land over here. So when you see Hispanics who are a little lighter, like Selena, for example, you may not look at her as black because her skin is a little lighter or whatever, but due to the fact that within all that commingling between the white Spanish and the black natives over here, a lot of those, a lot of the descendants and byproducts of those commingling, or that sexual interaction between the natives and the European European Spaniards, that black blood. That's why they tell you. That's why the white man used to tell you, one black blood makes you black. A lot of that black blood, that was original, that the indigenous people of these lands had, was still within the people who, despite the fact they may have started becoming lighter in skin, they still had the black in them or whatnot, all the way down to the Hispanics who may have been a little lighter in shade than others. So hell, because really, shit, you got motherfuckers that look white. When you look at it, like, oh, that's a white boy, or that's a white girl, and the whole while they have a functioning pineal gland because that their bloodline still have a drop of Now I'm not saying when you read Anthony Broader's book from the Broader Files, he'll tell you in there that I think he said like 85 or 90% of white people have a calcified pineal gland. That means the other 10% are not necessarily white. They just really passing for white. They really look white, but they're really black or whatever. So if you was to take the Hispanic, all the light-skinned Hispanics who look almost white or whatever, due to the fact that their mere existence is due to an intermingling between indigenous black natives and European Spaniards, a considerable amount of them who may look like they're not black because they have straight hair and their skin is a little lighter. A considerable amount of them are still black and still have a functioning pineal gland. Now some of them are totally Caucasianed out too and bleached out too, but you would find more of them with a functioning pineal gland than you would if you was to look at if you find more like Hispanics with a functioning pineal gland than you would if you was to do what's the word I'm looking for? If you was to do if you was to basically check out all the whites and see if it was a way to find out all the whites who were had a functioning pineal gland or who had the black dot, you would find more. You'll find less Caucasians with it than you would light-skinned Hispanics or whatever. So let me see how much time we got left. Yeah, right. Close this one out. So yeah, damn, I gotta give me something better to record with so I can so I can be able to go a little bit longer. Cause I think I got a little bit more I want to say on this topic, but right now I'll go ahead and close out with this. But I just want to give a little, because I didn't get to do this in the first video. I just went straight. I was so, you know, the science and the spiritual aspect of it all was so had me so excited. I just went straight into that. I didn't really give a chance to give a background on at least from a background from my perspective and how I came into the knowledge of it. I didn't really give a chance to get a chance to give an account of that. So that's what I want to do right here. But I got some more information that I want to I got in the tuck. So I guess when I come back and it'll be a minute though, but when I come back and do that, I go a little bit more in the depth. But before I go, I just want to say that Selena was the Hispanic version of Aaliyah. Just for those that ain't not familiar, cause I'm from Texas, so I know it's a lot of people out there that still. That's one of the reasons why she came through, cause there's a lot of people out there that still not familiar with her. But if I had to give an example through comparison of her impact and influence within the Hispanic community, and just period. I just say the Hispanic community because they knew, or the Mexican community, they call her the Queen of Tejano. So within the Tejano world, they understood, they saw her the same way we saw Aaliyah. But if she was exposed to, if more people knew about her within in general, then she would have the same esteem Aaliyah did. That Aaliyah had on the world or whatever. I hope I'm saying that right, but I'm saying it right, but I'm trying to. I'm running out of time, so it's like it's crunch time. But yeah, y'all niggas get what I'm saying. So let me close this out right here, man, and I'll come back and kick a little something because I got some more I want to speak on. But I just want to do this and say, hey, happy Cinco de Mayo. I need to go find out what that's about. But shout out to the brown brothers and sisters out there. Y'all niggas be easy. Peace.